Hey guys, happy World Kidney Day. I got a awesome video response on my Thunderfoot's Hypocrisy video. It was hilarious. It wasn't just like a blogger talking at a camera. There was like Seinfeld clips in there, and it was just like a work of well-edited art. So I of course have to respond to that because also the person is completely wrong, and I have to take it apart point by point. But if you guys don't want to be involved in this whole situation anymore, obviously I would understand that. Stop watching this video right now. Otherwise, the link will be below. And the link for the response video, and totally check that out because it's awesome and hilarious and it's a treat. So go watch that. So the first thing that was mentioned in the video was my use of ellipses. And this is what he had to say.
So let's look at how Maria compares the quotes between these two.
Here's a quote from Thunderfoot.
Here's what she's leaving out in that ellipsis.
And I mean threatened beyond crashing a few airlines.
So the words that were taken out there were, and I mean threatened beyond crashing a few airlines, and I thought that was an unnecessary addition because the original statement had the word actually, if you ever managed to actually threaten the enlightened world. But let's look at the video to see if I misrepresented it in any way to point to that Thunderfoot meant a small threat. A city in the West or the First World, anywhere in the First World, got threatened, we felt actually that our lives were legitimately in danger, probably. So I was pretty clear that it would have to be a serious threat. Now he also had a problem with the way I quoted Ali.
What possible reason could Thunderfoot have to think that this threat was based on his ideas? I mean, if you look at the quote as Maria presents it, obviously it has nothing to do with his ideas.
Thunderfoot. And people who think like you. If you ever try to awaken any sort of sleeping giant,
it ends up being that whole "and people who think like you," which gets lost in the ellipsis.
So I took out who Dawei Films was speaking to here because I thought it was irrelevant, and the original part that was missing is Thunderfoot and people that think like you. And what he's suggesting is that because the word think is in there, there is a reason for Thunderfoot to believe he's being attacked for his beliefs. But what he's missing is the end of the quote. So to say Thunderfoot and people that think like you, we're going to kill you, means that we're going to kill you for thinking like Thunderfoot, for your ideas. But to say Thunderfoot and people that think like you, we're going to kill you if you start hurting innocent people, means the exact same thing, whether Thunderfoot and people that think like you is in there or not. So that's irrelevant. Basically, I thought the arguments you made about my use of ellipses were the weakest of all because you really never pointed out or re-paraphrased what I should have meant or in what way I used them falsely. You just made a whole bunch of suggestion and hinting about, oh, ellipses are bad, and if she's using them, she's probably trying to trick you, and look, she used it here, what does that mean? And she used it here, what does that mean? So just like a bunch of Fox News type stuff where there's no real facts or points made, just a lot of suggestion and, phrasing. But okay, so let's look at what your next argument is.
Thunderfoot. And people who think like you. If you ever try to awaken any sort of sleeping giant.
Of course, Thunderfoot never said he was going to awaken any sleeping giant. In fact, Thunderfoot didn't say he was going to do anything at all. And that's the difference between a hyperbolic claim, which would be what Thunderfoot did, and a direct threat, which is what Ali did.
So what you've basically done there is taken a difference between the two of them, labeled it, played with some semantics, and then said, that makes this one so much worse than the other one. Fine. In my original statement when I said that they were identical, I did not mean, hey guys, they're identical, and Thunderfoot was exactly quoting Dawei Films word for word, and nobody else noticed, so surprise. No, what I meant was that they were similar along the lines of we have a double standard, and things that are okay on one side are not okay on the other. But if you want to take the differences between the two and argue about which is worse, you're welcome to that argument because you would lose, because Thunderfoot's was way, way worse. So yeah, why don't we call yours a hyperbolic statement and then the other one a direct threat? Why don't we go with that? And I would say your hyperbolic statement is 5 times worse than that direct threat. How about the fact that the direct threat was a self-defensive statement? How about that fact? Because it totally was. It was basically like, if you come after innocent people, we will kill the people who are killing innocent people. So we are going to defend ourselves. That's self-defense. How about the fact that Thunderfoot's was an attack statement? It was basically like, if your extremists in your camp start acting up, we're going to unleash a monster and it'll wipe out everything, innocent people included. So, I mean, it wasn't specified to who, just, you know, a monster that would wipe out an entire civilization. And to say, oh, you know what, but Thunderfoot didn't actually say he would do anything. He just sort of, you know, hinted at that, explaining to people that's what would happen, unfortunately. No, Thunderfoot wasn't going, oh, sorry guys, this is how it would be, unfortunately, just if you push it too far. It was in every way a taunt, like, come on guys, why don't you try to push this too far? I dare you. Just try it, you bastards. This is what will happen. Everything about it was threatening. But if you want, you can call it a hyperbolic statement. I'm going to call Dawei Films a self-defensive statement and Thunderfoot an attack.
So Thunderfoot should have been outraged. He should have been totally outraged because this guy, what he was saying was that Thunderfoot was a terrorist. That's what Thunderfoot should have been outraged about. He should have been outraged that this guy was suggesting he was, you know, threatening the lives of innocent people.
Well, yes, Thunderfoot should have been offended by the fact that somebody might suggest that he's like a terrorist. Except for the fact that somebody has already done that and you supported them. Got That Funk explicitly and unequivocally compared Thunderfoot to an Islamic extremist by taking Thunderfoot's voice and pasting it right on top of an Islamic extremist. And he got your support.
Yes, I completely support Got That Funk on the video. I thought it was a great video, I thought it was a great idea, and I totally enjoyed it and thought it contributed a lot to the debate. And yes, I think that Thunderfoot should have been outraged by it. Why you think there's some sort of contradiction there, I really don't know, because there's not. There's no contradiction there. I think that, you know, in my original video when I said Thunderfoot should be outraged by what Dawei Films said about him wanting to murder innocent people, my concern there wasn't, you know, oh, poor Thunderfoot, he's been slandered with this outrageous statement, he should be so angry about it. My concern was the lack of priorities on Thunderfoot's part. Because in my opinion, the reaction of a decent human being when they're accused of something as horrible as wanting to kill innocent people should immediately be outrage. And that the first thing he should have done was come out and made, like the direction I would have gone into, is come out and made a video of how dare somebody would accuse me of advocating for genocide just because my beliefs are different than theirs. And of course I would never advocate for genocide because that's terrible. And how dare somebody say that about me? That's the reaction I think a good guy would have gone in. And, you know, Thunderfoot's reaction was basically, let's go in the other direction and let's, you know, demonize this group of people a little more. Because I don't think I went far enough with my last video. There wasn't enough Nazi comments in the last comment section. Let's push this a little farther. So, yeah, thank you for the video response. And I hope you change your views on some of this stuff.